Cavin Elizabeth, a wedding photographer based in San Diego, and today I'm going to be talking about some days of the year that you might want to avoid when it comes to planning the date for your wedding. Now, there are some days or weekends of the year that you might not want to use for your wedding date because they might come with higher cost, or because some guests might not want to come to your wedding on that weekend because they might be doing some family events, or because the cost of traveling that weekend might be higher. So if you have a lot of guests who might be coming from out of town, you might not want to use these weekends for your wedding because you're not going to have nearly as many people come into your wedding, unless you secretly don't want a lot of people come into your wedding, in which case you might want to use these weekends for your wedding. But these are just going to be some days of the year that might be kind of the worst days of the year to get married, because again, the cost might be higher for people coming, so they might not be traveling for your wedding for this weekend. They might be staying at home instead, or traveling other places to spend time with family, or you might have higher costs associated with your actual wedding cost. Maybe vendors are going to be charging holiday premiums, or maybe flower costs might be higher. So there's a lot of reasons why you might not want to choose these dates for your wedding, so let's jump right in. New Year's Eve. So guests may or may not want to go to a wedding for New Year's Eve. I might actually want to, but a lot of vendors might charge holiday premiums to actually work a wedding on New Year's Eve. I know I would probably charge a holiday premium to work New Year's Eve because I would want to be off instead of working. So if I am going to be working, I am going to be charging more, and I know a lot of vendors do this because instead of working on a holiday, they would rather be at home with their family. But if they are going to be working, they're at least going to be making more money, so that it's worth taking that time away from their family on a holiday. And then there are probably going to be higher costs associated with traveling around a holiday, so your guests might actually have to pay more just to fly into town to spend that wedding day with you. So there might not be as many guests traveling to make it to your wedding. So just something to think about if you are having a New Year's wedding. If you are choosing a Valentine's Day weekend or day itself, or Mother's Day weekend, you should expect much higher flower costs. You're not going to get as many flowers for the same price as you would on another weekend. Now, this is going to be very important to note because you could still totally get married during these weekends and most of your other costs should remain the same, but it's your flowers that are going to go up way higher in cost, or you might not be able to get certain kinds of flowers because they're all already taken for other people who are getting Mother's Day or Valentine's Day flowers. So if flowers are a huge priority for you, I would not choose Valentine's Day or Mother's Day weekends to get married. For 4th of July weekends, I would probably avoid this because you are going to have maybe a lot less guests coming to your wedding because they're going to be spending it maybe with their family celebrating. Also, the travel costs for this weekend are probably going to be a lot higher because a lot of times when it is a holiday, flights, hotels, things like that are much, much higher. So people, especially people on a budget, are going to be a lot more hesitant to travel to spend that weekend with you for your wedding. So I would just generally avoid this. So Thanksgiving weekend and Christmas weekend, maybe Hanukkah, if you have a lot of Jewish people in your family, you might not have nearly as many people coming to your wedding because those people are going to probably be spending those weekends with their family instead of coming to your wedding. Now again, like I mentioned earlier, if you strategically for some reason want to invite a lot of people but don't want a lot of people to come to your wedding, then you might use this to your advantage. But do expect that a lot of people will not be coming to your wedding because they're going to be spending holiday weekends like this with their families instead. Also, it's going to be way more expensive for people to travel, whether it's you traveling to your destination wedding or your guests trying to travel to you. They're going to have to spend a lot more on flights, hotels, and car rentals because of these holiday surcharges. If you are flying in vendors to your wedding, those vendors are going to be charging you holiday premiums, not only because they're having to work holidays, but also because they're having to also pay those increased holiday travel costs to fly to your wedding, to drive to your wedding, whatever it may be. So you are going to have to pay more if you're getting married on something like Thanksgiving weekend or Christmas weekend or even Christmas Day. So do expect to have higher costs all around and way less guests for weekends like this. It's the same thing with extended holiday weekends like Labor Day or Memorial Day. You are going to have your guests maybe not coming if they're more budget oriented because the travel costs are going to be a lot higher, but maybe you will have more people coming because they can take that extra day off of work because it's already off anyway, because that Monday they're not having to go in because it's a holiday. So something like that could be to your advantage, but also the travel costs are higher, so who knows? But it's something to think about. Like if you are going to a destination city for your wedding, you are going to have to pay more money just to get out there. So there's a lot to think about for these extended holiday weekends, even if they're not like a Thanksgiving or a Christmas, something really major like that. And the last one that I wanted to bring up isn't a holiday, but actually major sports days. So something like the Super Bowl, or if you have avid golfers, like a huge golfing event, you might have a lot of people staying home instead of coming to your wedding. Or if they do come to your wedding, do expect that they're probably going to be watching the game on their phones, maybe during your ceremony or during your reception. And if you think, no, they're not going to do that, they'll just catch it later or they'll check it randomly throughout the day. No, I have seen people literally watching games on their phones throughout the wedding day. And I think it's a little bit rude. I've seen people do this. Instead of paying attention to the wedding, they're literally watching the game on their phones. I've taken pictures of it. I have photographic evidence of it happening. So I have seen these things happen. People will be paying attention to the game on their phones, hoarded all around someone's phone at the reception table instead of watching the actual wedding itself. And I'm like, why did you even come here? Why didn't you just stay home? Why are you at this wedding? So it will happen. So if you do plan your wedding around a major sports event and you have huge sports fans, they either aren't going to come or they're going to watch the sporting event instead of watching your wedding. So just be mindful of something like that if you've got huge sports fans. So I hope this video was helpful. If you have not set a date for your wedding yet, just some dates to avoid. If you want high turnout for your wedding or lower cost, or if you love flowers, to not book your wedding on a major flower holiday, something like that. So if you guys did enjoy this video, please be sure to leave a like, maybe even tell me your wedding date down in the comments below, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!